Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Mental Warrior Podcast, where we teach you how to win the war in your mind. Because when you win the war in your mind, you win the battle for your life. And the goal of this podcast here is to raise an army of millions and millions of mental warriors, because the world needs mental warriors now more than ever. I took a brief hiatus, took a couple months off, been a little bit. When I sat down to record this, my microphone was like, Zach, man, where you been? We've been looking for you everywhere. We're waiting for you. The world's been waiting for you. And I'm like, I know, microphone. I'm sorry. Take it easy. All right. I just moved to a new place, had a nice little upgrade. And when you move to a new place, it takes time to get back into your routine. If you have a podcast studio like this, it takes some time to reset it up. Had to buy some new equipment. And as you can tell, if you're watching this, the wall behind me is not quite done yet. And that kind of brought me to making this episode today, because I just haven't done this in a while. I like doing it. I think it helps people. And I just can't wait anymore. I can't wait for the right time. I can't wait for everything to be the best it can be, because it's all about progress over perfection. Say that again. Progress over perfection. So you know what? The audio on this episode might not be great. I might not look my best. I might not look as handsome as I normally do. As you can see behind me, my studio is not done. But you know what? I'm going to make progress. I'm not going to wait for perfection. Because let me tell you, I've waited for perfection before. And you're going to be waiting a long time if you're ready for everything. Everything's got to be perfect and perfected before you do what you got to do. You're going to be waiting for a long time. And my studio, especially the wall behind me, really inspired this episode, because I can't wait anymore. I can't wait till I figure out the exact lighting, the exact audio, how I look on the video. I just got to get it done. And you know why? Because life's all about reps and rhythms. And the more reps you get in, the stronger, the better you get. So you're only going to get better with time through experience. So that's why you got to get your reps in. And that's making progress. The more reps you get in, the more progress you make, the more you move forward. So I'm not really going to know if you can hear my neighbors walking around in my new apartment. I'm not going to know how my audio sounds or how I look, how the background looks, unless I actually put out an episode and record something and get something out there, because I'm making progress over perfection. I'm also I'm a perfectionist, but I'm also impatient, because I want it now. I need it now, but it's got to be right. It's like, that's a super conundrum right there, which is a great word, conundrum. That you have these two ends of the spectrum where it's got to be now, but it's got to be perfect. And they're just pulling each other apart, and it's never going to end. So at a certain point, you just got to take a stand and tell yourself, got to make progress over perfection. And that applies to so much things. Everything in your life is that it's just a matter of getting out there, getting that first step forward. You can't sit around and wait for the perfect opportunity, because guess what? There is no luck. There is no perfect opportunity. You got to create that stuff yourselves, and you create it by taking a step forward, because this progress, little bit of progress every day, builds up momentum. And this momentum just keeps pushing you forward. The ball rolls, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. You get more momentum, more momentum. These small wins become big wins. And before you know it, you're living in the penthouse, living your dreams, eating caviar, whatever you want. So it all comes from this progress. It's so interesting how everything's tied in together, that a little bit of progress adds up. The compound effect is real, until eventually you got, you know, this much progress. You start here, build it up, stacking that cash, whatever. By the time you know it, your momentum's built up and you're making that progress, because you weren't waiting for perfection. And the funny thing is, the more progress, the more reps you get in, the closer you get to perfection. So it's all cyclical, just like anything else in life. Everything's connected, tied in together more than you even realize. And one thing affects another. So as I'm getting in the reps right now and I'm getting my progress in by recording these episodes, one day I would love to speak, get paid to be a speaker. Like, who doesn't want to get paid to talk? One day I am going to be a keynote speaker. I'm going to get paid to talk and give presentations. And you know what? I'm making all my progress towards that by putting out these episodes, getting in my reps, getting in my repetition, getting in the rhythm. Life's all about repetition and rhythm and creating your own rhythm, creating your own frequencies and energies and vibrations. And let me not go off on one of these weirdo tangents most people don't understand, but we'll get there one day. But the point is that life's all about reps, and you get the reps through progress. A great example is, I'm a gamer, I play video games. I'm a huge Batman guy, and I've been replaying this old Batman game. And a lot of these games they have where they have like a percentage completed of the game, like it'll tell you what percent you're at. And then when you beat the main game, you're usually at like 60%. And then if you want to complete the game 100%, which you don't really get anything for, you get some bragging rights, some cool stuff. But if you want to get to that 100%, you have to do all these side missions and figure stuff out. And you have to deliberately spend in all this extra time to get to 100%. And I've never really gotten to 100% in the game. And with this Batman game, I like this game. I beat the regular game. I'm like, let me try to get to 100%. And so like the first couple days was like a sprint where I'm like, oh, I got to get up higher, higher, higher. And I'm doing stuff. I'm only moving like 1%. But I'm doing it every day. And every day I'm getting in my reps, making my progress, and my percentage is going up. So eventually my percentage went up to about 15%. And I'm not at 100% yet, but I got my progress in. I got my reps in. And little by little, the percentage is going up until eventually I'll get to 100%. And it's because I'm making my progress. I'm getting in my reps. Now, honestly, I'm bored with the game. I'm not doing it anymore. I can't spend any more time trying to get to 100%. I got way more important shit to do. But I learned a lesson from it is that, like Rome, they say Rome wasn't built overnight. My studio is not built overnight. Got this weird looking wall behind me. And I give away one of my secrets that this is really wallpaper. This is not real brick. So hopefully nobody finds out the truth. But the point of the story is it's progress over perfection. And that goes for any aspect of your life. Whatever you're doing, it's one foot in front of the other until eventually you're 100 feet out. At the gym, you can do 10 reps and you keep making progress. You get to 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 until eventually you could do 3 sets of 15, or you could only run for 5 minutes. Eventually you do 10 miles. In my studio, on my wall, I have a plaque of when I did the Broad Street Run, which is 10 miles. And I had to, I trained for that for months. I barely ever ran before that. And I did that. And it's because I trained for about 4 months and I made my progress and I got my reps in. So progress over perfection applies to every aspect of your life. And the more progress you make, um, the more progress you'll make, the more your confidence will go up, the better you feel about yourself, the more successful you'll become. And that's all about progress too. So it's always about making progress. So even if it's super frustrating if you go 5 steps forward and go 6 steps back, or 5 steps forward, 5 steps back. But in the long run, you're still making progress. It's just up to you to make sure you're making the most progress. So it's up to you to make sure if you take 5 steps forward, you only take 1 step back and not 6 steps. Because while you'll be in the negative, you'll still constantly be learning. And that's what it's all about. It's about learning, because every rep you put in makes you that much better. So it's all about progress over perfection. You could sit around and wait for the perfect moment, the perfect thing, the perfect this, the perfect that. If only I had this, if only I had that. It's all excuses for not doing the work. And the common theme on this podcast is that you have to do the work. It's unavoidable. And we do these little things, we come up with our little schemes, We try to get out of doing the work, but we know that we have to do the work. And in the back of the mind, we know that, but we do these things, you know, to try to get out of doing the work. But at the end of the day, the bill comes due, either in the front end or the back end. You always want to take the pain up front because the bill always comes due. The work always has to be done. So keep working hard out there. Keep making progress. Whatever you've been putting off, that first step, or maybe you made the first two steps and you're stuck at the third step, you just got to keep pushing through, and keep making that progress. The more progress you make, the more reps you get in. The more reps you get in, the better you get. The better you get, the more confident you get. The more confident you get, the more you'll do, the happier you'll be. I could go on and on and on, but you see how everything builds and you see the progress is building. Sometimes it's tough to remember that, and because you sometimes things aren't tangible where you can physically, you know, if you build a house, you can see the house. When you're building your inner house, you might not always can see it or feel it. So we also need reminders of the progress that we've made. But first start with making the progress. First start with installing this thought in your mind that progress over perfection. And when you feel like you're holding yourself back and you're using that as an excuse, you just got to jump in head first, feet first. Just jump in, don't think about it. Think about the progress. Focus on those first couple steps. So that's it for this episode of the Mental Warrior podcast. If you made it this far, I appreciate you watching or listening on YouTube, all podcast platforms. We're also on all social media platforms. So leave some comments below. I want to hear what you think. And if you are a perfectionist, did this help you? Are you going to focus on progress now? Or what has helped you get out of perfection mode and into progress mode? Let me know in the comments below. And I thank you for watching and listening. I'll catch you guys next time.